Hi everyone, we are live. This is Awesome 10X Philippine Market Update. It is March 16, 2022, and you are in the midst of a worldwide short covering rally. Finally, there's good news to share to you. We are seeing what a sharp rally today on China and Hong Kong. This is the 1,000 point for Hong Kong happening in just 2 hours as we speak. China is going up 6%. Your Europe, your Nasdaq, your UK. This is a worldwide rally after getting oversold for quite a while. Let's take a look at the Philippine market. You can still buy some oversold names in the Philippines. Let's take a look at your index. Your index is trading at 7,000. And let's just read through the index prices right now. Converge is trading at 23.75. URC is trading at 108. Ayala Corp is trading at 800. Security Bank 106.9. Aboitiz Power 33.8. AGI 12.4. MPI 369. Pure Gold 32.75. GT Cap is 509. Mega World is 308. Globe 2254. Asen $8. Meralco is 360, Emperador 13.3, Luciatan Group 9, Robinson's Land 19, Jollibee 227, Wilcon 26.5, San Miguel 104.5, Aboitiz Equity Ventures 59.5, JG Summit 58, BPI 95, Ayala Land 35, Metrobank 52, ICT 217, Monde 15, BDO 128, PLDT at 1693, SM Prime at 38, SM 889. From the looks of it, just on the pricing right now, I think the ones oversold would be Globe at 2250, GT Cap at 509, looks to be a trading range near support. Let's just go through these stats as well. Let's take a look at the biggest traded volume today on the markets. Top traded volume in the Philippine market is your ICT at 217, BDO at 128, Converge getting some love here at about 23.75. Let's take a look at that. Converge is up 7% for the day. URC getting some loving at about 108, 3% up. We do have to be a little bit concerned on still high inflation, which will impact URC and Monde. So although there is a rally on URC, we'll try to avoid it. And I think the rallies are to be shorted near 120. And of course, it can rally, but still commodities are quite high. The markets worldwide are rallying on the aspect of oil trading at 100 below. It's trading at $96 after hitting a high of 125. And of course, tonight there's a Fed overall meeting suggesting a potential rate hike of your dollars, which will impact really a flow of money towards the USA. Anyway, let's go through the charts here. So Converge is rising a lot. Let's take a look at top gainers. For the day, the top gainers have been, okay, so your Figaro Group, Coffee Group is rising 10% from 52 cents to 57 cents with some volume, 7 million. Let's take a look at that. Converge is the top traded volume with values trading at 250 million for Converge today. What else is rallying a lot? APL's rising 5% here, 25 million. Some trades there. And what's the worst loser for the day? Worst loser for the day still continues to be Monde. So people are still selling their Monde Nissan on account of this rising inflation, which will impact Monde the hardest hit, as well as URC for their commodity weights, actually similar to your DNL, which has a lot of palm oil. SM is trading lower, 887, a little 2% there. Your SM Prime falling at 38 pesos. So in general, what we could see in the market is that Converge is the one getting bought. Let's take a look if there's news on Converge for this rally, or is it just a technical rebound? So far, Converge has been falling for around since June, July, actually since September. So that would be September or October highs here. October 6, 7, it traded as high as 44. It has since fell nearing 50% here at about 22 pesos. So from 44 to 22, halving within 6 months. Some people are taking a buy there on 22. However, there is a lot of resistances here at 27 and another resistance here at 25. So you'd have to assume that there will be a lot of resistances on its way up. And this is not a clear path on an uptrend. Still got a lot of selling pressure there. So this would be traded as a trading range bounce. So a trading range bounce means that as long as this 2155 holds, it will get some rallies here, but stopped over at about 25 and 28 for Converge. Okay, so let's just look at the charts first without going through the earnings or any rallies, but it's possibly going up due to the earnings call since March 10. So after the earnings call, looks like some people are willing to buy the growth story on Converge. So that would be one thing that is seen in the markets. Let's say, let's take a look at other themes here. Index names, you're getting index movements. Index movements are okay. Let's take a look at your Ayalas, just to check how they're moving. Ayala Corporation is trading at 799. So it has since bounced from 740 after a drop here about 880. So we're seeing that it's still trading in a range. 800 is just in the middle point, so it's not a tradable area here. SM here is trading at the middle side as well. With your resistances here at about 1,000, it's trading at 887. I think the support is at 800, so we'll wait for it 10% lower. So still not a tradable buy for your SM either. Let's take a look at your Globe, since Globe is trading at about 2,250. 2,250, however, seems to be near support already, as we've seen that was the previous resistance. So far from a trading perspective, Globe is hitting your supports here at 2,250 with another support here at 1950. For a potential buying zone here, bullish zones here for Globe, 2,250 is okay. So let's take a look as well on your prices. With Nicolasia here at about 739 be a great entry. While it can still remain on the downside for profit-taking reasons, it can fall here below 650 or below 7. However, we think this huge drop from about 950 all the way to 730 has a lot of buyers as well waiting on the drop. So around 750 all the way to 6 peso, we would assume a lot of buyers on the up on the commodity price areas. So this is still an area for buying areas for nickel, and so we'll wait here at about 6 all the way to 730. Some people are buying today on Nicolasia at 737. Now let's take a look at the other names like Mark and FNI. Of course, they are being traded as small cap counterparts for your Nicolasia. Same thing happening. So for Mark Ventures, it rallied from 1 peso to 2.5, dropped here at about 150 and made a retest, rallied straight to 170 and still getting some profit taking there. We'll see if it drops, but a lot of buyers here on 150, 160 area on its drop, and we think that it's still on an uptrend. Okay, so nickel and Mark, let's take a look at FNI as well. Still a trading volatility move. So here it overshot to as low as 247 for FNI, and then overshot as well to the upside at $3. 3 pesos. So we're seeing actually quite a volatile trading range for your FNI. Seeing that this will move below 250. Below 250 has tons of buyers here at 245. Lots of sellers still at $3 above, 3 peso to 320. So we're seeing a trading range on your FNI and nickel as we speak. Let's take a look at your DMCs and your Semiraras. All right, so some coal stocks here in the Philippines. Coal stocks in the Philippines are your DMC and Semirara. We're seeing that support here play out at the 770 area for DMC. Just like a support in the past here at about November and October areas. So we're seeing that 8 peso mark become support. Any prices below 7.7 has been bought out. So we'll just outline those buys here, 7.5 and 7.7. We'll try to nibble on that. So stock, DMCI, so would be a good entry to buy. So DMC, market still trading, so we'll just post it here, example for buying. So 7.75, say a weak order to buy in. Just posted. Let's see if we can get done. So DMCI, of course, lots of resistance as we'll hear about. 9 area. So 9 above, you've got some tons of selling areas as well. Let's take a look at Semirara here. Semirara or SCC, Semirara Mining and Power Incorporation. So of course, the Philippines is heavily reliant on your oil and coal and gas. So most of our power plants are not yet nuclear. We don't have, and so we are also not reliant too much on solars yet. So heavily still hitting on the coal prices. So this one is still a buy. You can see that 25 area being bought, and actually even at 29, I'd say some people are buying that. Recent low was about 26 last week. Last night, actually yesterday 26.1. So we would assume that these are potential buy areas for Semirara, 27 all the way to 29. So some people will also bid on that. So for Semirara, let's say you're looking to buy, you just post it there. Semirara, bid at 27, good for the week. See if you can get filled on any dips, as there's still ton of volatility in the market. So obviously that can also not get filled. So it's just try to buy if you can. Let's see. So Semirara, Nicolasia, FNI. Let's take a look at Aboitiz Power here. Aboitiz Power continues to trade lofty, trading at 33 pesos. So a lot of people are buying Semirara and Aboitiz Power for their portfolios, and we can see that there's a lot of higher lows here. 30 pesos is a strong mark on Aboitiz Power buyers. Still hasn't fallen down there. Profit taking has only gone to as low as 32 and then since rebounded to 33.85. So it's quite difficult to get some Aboitiz Power at the 30 mark. Let's take a look at Aboitiz Equity Ventures. So the Aboitises are still well loved in the market, as the market is seeing a lot of strength on the income profile of their businesses. All right, so Aboitiz Equity Ventures continues to trade at a higher low, 38, 50, and then 59. So it's been trading at a higher low ever since. And still no let up. Actually, not a lot of entries for your Aboitiz Equity Ventures. Okay, we mentioned about some really oversold names like GT Cap. Let's take a look at this. The GT Cap looks to have a lot of supports here at about 450 area despite inflation. However, the problem is that there's also a ton of resistance here, about 530 and 570 pesos per GT Cap. So it's still on a downtrend after that sharp drop, just like how Mondenizin is. So it's going to be very difficult to take a stab on the low of GT Cap. We'll just let it be, maybe at 450 or even worse. So for now, we'll just let it be and watch how it proceeds. For Monday, as we think that it's still in a downtrend, and any rallies here at about 15 is a sell area. We're seeing that downtrend still play out. A lot of rallies have been overbought, got sold out. And the problem is that we don't know if 1260 is still gonna be met for Monday. So we still take a stance that Monday is still on a downtrend shift here, with rallies at 18, 16, and 15, all areas for selling areas. Okay, so let's take a look what's been happening on your oil stocks. Well, oil stocks abroad have been profit taken, and let's take a look at the impact on your Cebu Pacific Air. So Cebu Pacific has dropped a bit. So it's been a very tricky range for Cebu Pacific. Here about 40 pesos, you've got a lot of buyers, but nearing 45 areas, near 49, you've got tons of selling pressure. So it's been a choppy trading range for Cebu Pacific. You've got a 40 to 48 range here with a lot of buyers near 41, and then a rebound at 45, still a sell. Okay, so what else can we say in the Philippine market? Index movers. All right. So only Globe seems to be trading at support. Globe, PLDT is trading today at 1600. So PLDT is still not at support. You've had that support so far, but it's minor here at 1588. Assuming that there is more selling, PLDT can fall 1400. So you just have to take a look on where the potential supports of these levels are, which is still potentially retesting that 1400 just in case. Okay, so let's take a look at PSEI. Seems like your SM and AC has 10% downside. That means that your PSEI would still have downside here at about 6.3 areas. So we're still seeing a potential drop here at about 6.2 or 6.4. So not too convinced of a strong rebound to sustain itself. Actually, any rallies of PSEI would still be Philippine Index will still have tons of selling pressure here about 7.2. So as it's seen, as you can see, the Philippine markets is still hobbling. So there's not much of support, and strong supports are mainly on your mining related names. So let's take a look at your mining related names here. Semirara, yes, you've got tons of buyer there. FNI, yes, you can trade the ranges there. Felix Mining, all right. So gold is actually going down at 1900 today, and so there is some profit taking pressure here at about Felix Mining, and let's take a look at Felix Petroleum as well. Felix Mining has broken down from about 7, dropped to about 5. Still got very little volume. That's why the activity is very difficult to trade on Felix Mining. Take a look at Felix Petroleum. It is no buyers at all. Okay, so Seems like there's no interest, zero interest on your Felix Petroleum. Okay, what else? So Felix, okay, APS, let's just take a look at that. So some gold mining place. Well, this was actually relatively illiquid, if you'll notice. Not a lot of volume. When it was rising, there was a ton of volume on the break of 180. However, after hitting 2 peso, it quickly submitted to dropping fast. I'd say that so far, if 180 is still a resistance, we're seeing just a horizontal trading range on Apex. Unfortunately, it looks like a lot of people seem to be still trapped here at 180 areas, given that volume spike on the 180 mark. So either they've cut, which is also possible, but any cuts would be treated at 170 or 160 as tons of resistances as well. As it advances, there will be some selling pressure on your Apex. So Apex has not been moving just like your gold prices, which are just actually being taken profits from. Now, gold can of course fall here at about 1850 or 1875 if risk aversion slows down. But so far, actually, there's still a lot of fear. That's why it's still trading above 1840. And this is while this is a double top here at 2060, might be actually consolidating for another run on the upside. So we'll see how things go. But gold is currently just on the neutral range right now, neutral to bullish bias. Let's take a look at your edge if there's any to see there. Okay, Bloomberry, ICT Annual Report, Del Monte, most viewed disclosure. So not a lot of news flows happening for the week. Let's take a look at this week. Nothing much. Yeah, so nothing much. I'd say that people are just trading the charts nowadays. And let me just see. So Converge was just a trading bounce, it seems. Let me see if there was any disclosures about the earnings last week. Press release, March 10 was the earnings, so that was a week ago. That was statement of data. Material information. Okay, so the financial statements have been released on your Converge, and well, it's been growing actually. So I wouldn't be surprised if they talk about their growth areas and their outlook. Converge has been adding 1.3 terabytes international capacity for a fully redundant subsea cable network. Hmm. Well, it's been doing well for a lot of quarters already. So even if you just take a look at their year on year, it's already a profitable business, no? So they're just gonna continue to grow. It's a matter of well, it's just that Converge is of course going to be traded with a valuation problem. Because you'll always have to compare what the Converge growth rates are versus the PLDT and the Globe. So just consider this as a trading range for Converge. Sige, let's take a look at where the markets are traded at today. PCOR has been resistance at 390. I think the recent high was 4 and then it fell down. So it's just been in a 3 to 4 zone. Mark, FNI, and Nickel still continues to get a lot of love as we've seen very strong run-ups on these three nickel commodities. Sometimes your DMCIs and your Semiraras follow suit, but you're right that Philippine gold plays like APX and Felix hasn't been rallying. So the Philippine market has been mostly concentrated on nickel and coal, I would say. Nickel, coal, and gas energy plays. So in terms of coal and gas, that would be DMC Semirara and Aboitiz Power. So Aboitiz Power has a lot. So very few on the buy side. And still, there's a lot of weakness on the overall markets. The flows are still on the negative side. We can clearly see that. Market value remains low, 5 billion pesos. While there's a lot of advancers today, we could argue that it's rallying on just a push but still downtrend. So still actually murky. I'd say that a rally of GT Cap to 550 has tons of sellers. A rally on your URCs at 120 is a lot of selling pressure. So if you take a look at the URC, for instance, this is a downtrend, a breakdown, and any rallies towards 118 or not even 118 towards 114 will already incur a lot of selling pressure. So a lot of selling pressure still on the market. Um, What has rallied? Okay, so let's take a look. Yes, we've seen MPI rallied a bit. So I think like some are rallying because they're just oversold. So we're seeing like MPI here at about 360 has become a support since April 2021 and July. And on the recent dip of 358, while it rallied up, still tons of selling pressure as well here at about 3.8 and 4 peso. Unfortunately, it seems like a really long drowsy trading range for MPI. We're also seeing the same drowsy trading range for pure gold. Pure gold has had support here at about 3165. So that was a bounce there. So we're seeing actually consumer staples in the Philippines like MPI, they're stable utilities, right? Pure gold, supermarket. It's actually, I think, trading within a 10% range for now. So it could rally maybe from 32, it can rally to 35. That would be a 10% pop, but still within in the neutral range. Not a lot of momentum happening on this Philippine stocks, but groceries right now just in a wide trading range. And we're talking about this as a this is already an 8-year trading range. So by 2024, it's already going to be a decade where pure gold, which has been rallying on account of expansion of their stores and SNRs, still the stock price has never really valued those cash flows and earnings to begin with. So it's been in an 8-year bearish channel, or if you call this just a neutral channel, if not a bearish channel. But the fact that it doesn't trade beyond 42 is really telling you how the Philippine market has no appetite at all. It's just trading within a range, no? So there's not much risk appetite on your companies in the Philippines. Okay, let me take a look and answer some questions. Okay, so some news here. Converge got added mid caps on FTSE. Okay, so that could have been the reason why it rallied. Is LTG below 9 good for dividends? Actually, right now, I don't think there is much momentum happening on a lot of your Philippine conglomerates, as it seems as if like most of the conglomerates are looking on the downside rather than on the upside. Um, as for the dividends of LTG, let me see. LTG is not quite from not a big dividend giver. If you take a look at the LTG dividend summary, you can do that here. You just make an advanced search on the PSEI Luchotan Group, then take a look at the dividends here. Okay, so for the last year, 2021, not bad actually, no? So this is what? 1 peso pala. So you might be right. So some people are accumulating LTG because of that 90-cent dividend, which is quite high from a standpoint of Sir Kapitan. So si Kapitan, I guess if you're looking this at it from a dividend standpoint, assuming LTG gives another 1 peso here, then you might assume any supports here at about 8 or 7, even at 9 to actually be bought. So maybe you're just gonna be accumulating it. So current level of 9 until 7 looks to be a viable entry for those accumulators of dividends of Lushotan. Shouldn't be a bad idea given how consistent they've been giving last year. But let me see how much they've been giving all throughout in the last at least 5 years. Let's just take a look at the dividends history of the LTG group. Let's see. So LTG has been giving as of 2021 about 1 peso. In 2020, they also gave around 38 cents, 48 cents, around 50 cents. Um, 20. So it was a ton of cash dividends that was special. So every year, Kapitan has been giving a lot of special cash dividends. So this one, no, this is 38 and how much is this? 30 cents and 73 cents, 80 cents, and then 1 peso. This one was 30 cents. So they started giving a huge amount of special cash div only since the pandemic. That's what we've noticed. In 2017 to 2019, prior to the pandemic, LTG was just 18 to 20 cents. So nobody was actually paying attention to Luciatan Group until perhaps last 2 years when they started giving a ton of dividends. So yeah, I guess like since 2020 and 2021, since the company has been paying quite a huge cash dividend, we might have to take a look at why they are suddenly paying a lot of cash divs. Not that I am against it, but it's a good thing that they are declaring quite a lot. Let's take a look at this. Declaration of cash dividends, special cash div. Why are they giving a ton of cash divs recently? Press release. Let's just read through this. We are pleased to furnish that we have an attributable net income of 10 billion, still lower from our 9 months, but I guess they have become more proactive in paying their cash dividends, and not bad actually for all the shareholders of Lusiotan Group. So says here that we posted a net income. The tobacco businesses accounted for 13 billion. Tanduay added a billion. Asia Brewery was 400 million. So a lot of it is really just the tobacco business, which is cigarettes. Declared 24 cents. Declared 48 cents. So they paid about 5 billion for the year, equivalent to 24% of 2020's net income. Balance sheet remains strong. Publicly listed PNB also made money of about 24 billion under the pooling method due to the properties transferred into PNB Holdings Corporation. However, at consolidated level, we haven't recognized the gains. I guess it's a lot of, I mean, they have assets and they do have that ton of cash dividends that they're declaring. So, from a question standpoint of is LTG below 9 good for dividends, I think the answer is a yes. So 987, just accumulate your Lusiotan group if you wish. Thoughts on nickel and LME? I think it's positive. That's why Elon Musk has been tweeting a lot about potential inflationary charges on the entire electric vehicle segment, which is actually gonna trickle down to consumers via higher Tesla prices. Okay, there is a question in the banks. Hi, how is Metro Bank doing? Metro Bank is currently trading at 52 pesos. It seems that it's trading just the same as it was, like it's always become a dog in the property in the banking segment. So we're still seeing that at 52 it's actually in the nowhere zone. It can rally back to 58 and it could also fall to 46. So we are seeing that it rallied on its resistance high of 60 pesos, the prior support of 60 becoming support. I think that there will be a ton of buyer here at about 48 and 46 though. So any dips, actually you're just waiting for your PSEI to fall 10%. A lot of people will be buying Metro Bank on a 10% dip. So if you're looking to buy Metro Bank, just wait at 47 and 48 if that gets filled. It's still going to be a waiting game. I don't know how low it will be. It can even rally to 56, but I'd argue that there's also a ton of sellers here at 56 and 60 in case it goes up. So it's in a middle zone right now for Metro Bank. RHI, however, is just like pure gold. It's a dog. So retail segment hasn't been moving much, I think, for a long time now. Robinson's Retail is trading and looks to retest actually 50 bucks. Unfortunately, I think this has to do with the fact that the retail segment is a slow recovery. So lots of people are still on the edge of consumer spending potentially going down because of inflation. So I'd say that at 61 or 55, lots of sellers even actually at current levels wouldn't have to be a buyer. Unfortunately, there might be ways to go at 48. So I think there's no rush on Robinson's Retail. Well, there's a lot of buyback programs in Robinson's Retail. Doesn't seem as if there's some momentum to trigger it to move up. Let me just read through it just to get updated, no. So Robinson's Retail does pay dividends, but not much. 2 pesos. So at 50 peso, that would be about 4%. Not bad. I think like there's a ton of buyer at 50, which is the recent low here. 50.49. Um, but yeah, it's not the ideal right now. So because of the consumer spending problems. And I think like the market has not yet fully understood the extent of inflation. I mean, there is that I don't know how big of an inflationary concern the Philippines will get as oil prices are still remaining at $100 for a foreseeable amount of time. But we'll see how the markets in the Philippines will react. So far for RHI, lots of share buyback transactions been happening all year long. So you can see that. So for the entire January, February, March, you can just see that RHI, this is just being bought. So yun. Actually, you can argue that for the entire pandemic, 48 to 68 is a trading range for Robinson's Retail. So just follow that range for now. Near the dips of 50, lots of buyers. So yun. Okay, I think that everyone can see the charts are showing a potential drop of about 10% lower, especially on your Ayala lands. So still got to be mostly on the cautious side. Hi, what are your thoughts on the Bancom IPO? Um, in general, I didn't really check on the IPOs, but I think that with the general publicly listed companies, not necessarily the IPOs, if it's already very low liquidity in the Philippines, like 5 billion pesos market value, value traded, I think most of the people would just trade IPOs and not really do long term on it, especially if it's not a large company. So think small banks will not get a lot of love. You just get a lot of maybe just a little volume on it. So without volume, without enough volume, I think it will just dwindle no matter how cheap valuations they may be. So I wouldn't really care much. So I'm more of the ignoring part on all the IPOs unless it's really huge, unlike the Mondes. That's really quite important, I think, in the index. So from an index perspective, most of your banks are already not really expensive at all, save perhaps for BDO. I'd say BDO is quite in the expensive side. So BDO here about 130 areas might still have some selling pressure. Yun, 137 is still a sell, 130 is still a sell. Potentially there could be downside ahead on your banks. And it has to do with lack of consumer spending. So usually when there's lack of consumer spending, businesses would have no expansion plans. Example, you're a Pure Gold or a Robinson's Retail or even like Ayala Land, you wouldn't really lend a lot of money towards residential home loans or consumer auto loans. I think like I'm not really bearish, but I am also not bullish. My bearishness is limited to a 10% downside. I mean, I'm not like seeing index to go 5,000 naman. But I think it's worthwhile to caution everyone that we're not safe. We shouldn't actually think that the Philippines is going to be saved from a worldwide inflationary scare. And just because today is a good day, that there's a short covering air, a short covering air does not really alter the sustainability of the trend, no? So movements of oil is really gonna be a huge problem worldwide. And while Hong Kong and China is going up, I view that mostly as a short covering rally rather than a sustainable like start of a bottom of a potential bull market. Okay, so yun lang. Thanks for listening and trade fast in the Philippines. That's my advice. I don't think the Philippines, and if you're ever gonna go long, I still think it's mostly the commodities. So I'm bullish on the nickel. I'm bullish on the index if the index goes down. Not here. If it goes like 10% lower, let's say SM falls 10% lower, I will be a buyer. Mostly because I believe that Philippine economy, no matter how difficult inflation is, will try to be resilient. We will try. The answer is we are not immune. Of course, we're not immune from all these inflationary effects. But people will try to support local, no? So either we're gonna buy this. I say end of the day, we have no choice. Eh. You'll still end up buying your grocery goods at Robinson Supermarket or at Pure Gold or at SM. So I think at some point you'll have to say to yourself that we would have to consume. So I'll be bullish on the Philippine market. I just think that a cheaper valuation is warranted rather than just buying all at the market prices today, given so many problems. So yun, and also focus on the dividends. So Globe at 22 looks to be at the, actually amongst the index movers looks like okay pala. Globe at 22 is okay. Maybe if it falls 2,000 should be okay. So yun. Yun lang. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.